of other
There's
people.
a hell of a lot of people other than the
First,
black
Anna.
people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're
From a
not
lot
the
of
same as
different-
black people who were brought here against our will.
That's exactly what I
They
just said.
decided
I
to
said
walk
there is
their
a
butts
lot
across
of
the
people
border. There's a
other
big
than the
difference.
black
There is
people.
a big difference.
You think I would
listen to
say
me for a
I will
second.
have advocated
Anna,
for black
please
people
stop.
my entire life and
Anna,
say something like that?
Anna,
Give me a
Because
damn
you've
break.
advocated for black
Anna,
people,
please
great.
stop.
Congratulations. Last time I checked, I'm black. You're not.
Okay.
Hispanic people and black people's immigration story ain't the same. You show me a water fountain that says no Mexicans or no, it didn't exist. Black people had to go through all of this stuff. Y'all come over here 30 minutes ago and get everything we work for. Shinergy is actually live. It's 5 years in the making, 3 years in formulation, and I don't even know how to, I'm like in shock that we finally got it in production. All of our staff are now mandated to drink Shinergy. I'll just play it. No, but for real, if they want an energy drink, they got to drink Shinergy. Can't bring nothing else up in this building. But it's an incredible product, all natural product. If you take the day and the night together, that's when you get complete energy, which a lot of energy companies don't want to tell you because they need you to be tired so you can have to use their energy drinks. But we want you to get a great night's sleep so you wake up with energy and also have sustainable energy and focus throughout the day. A bunch of natural ingredients. We use ashwagandha, magnesium, melatonin in the night drink. And we use a bunch of other nootropics in the day drink that will give you clean, sustainable energy. No crashing, none of that bull crap. Just straight quality energy. And eventually I'm gonna put my formulator on here because I think that we need to give him a shout out because I want to introduce you guys to him. Like, we don't private label this stuff. We had it formulated from scratch. I mean, we talked to a person. I said I needed to be like this. I needed to taste good. I needed to have efficacy. I want all of the best supplement products and vitamins you can put in an energy drink that can give you good energy without screwing you over. So make sure you go to ShinergyLife.com, ShinergyLife.com. And for everybody else that purchased and pre-order, when you get it, taste it, and leave a review. Give us a 5-star if you believe it's 5-star worthy. All right. Now, I heard Shermichael. I've met Shermichael before. I'm not saying this is him, though. Y'all may not realize that there's black conservatives that hate me. I don't think Shermichael is one of those people. I hope not, man. 'Cause I met him. I liked him. I thought we were cool. If Shermichael follow me on social media. This will tell you everything you need to know. And I like Shermichael. I'm throwing it out there. Let me see if Shermichael follow me on social media. Because this is how y'all know when people don't like you. Shermichael don't follow me on social media. Now, I'm not saying that this is 100% true, because some people just don't follow. You don't follow them, they don't follow you. But I do want y'all to know that there's a rift in the black conservative community. I'm telling you, the black people like me that are new black conservative, the black conservatives of old, they don't like us. They don't like Candace. They tell us to our face. They try to get us uninvited to events. They talk behind our back. They wish now they the new Candace on. They be doing all kind of foul stuff. I'm not saying Shermichael is that person, but I'm skeptical, right? But with that being said, I like what he had to say on this show. Roll the clip.
I am going to move on. I'm going to move on because this is not a conversation about the tattoos.
Let me just say this.
One of the other things.
Let me just say this off top. Shermichael did misinterpret what she said. I'm not going to be disingenuous about it. But I still love to see her get her head whooped on TV because she is the most nastiest, craziest, racist, Eli derangement syndrome type woman I have ever seen in my life. And to watch her get lectured on TV just made my day. Roll the clip.
That happened this week is that a California judge said that you can't just scoop people up and deport them without a warrant. And in that case, basically the judge is saying, you're basically taking anybody who's in a particular area. If they don't want to talk to you, you're taking them, detaining them, and assuming that they are deportable, and that you can't really do that anymore.
What the judge is saying is nothing radical. This is basically comports with existing law. It comports with decades of decisions around this matter, which in like pure layman's basic terms means that ICE agents cannot go after people, arrest them and detain them solely on the basis of being having brown skin and being working class. And what was so interesting about this case for me is that the Border Patrol did not contest any of the allegations.
They actually claimed that they changed their guidelines.
Their response was just that they were going to do better training. And this issue is right in line with the Mr. Abrego Garcia case.
Hold on, I got to interject.
Due process.
Let me interject real quick. This is the last one. It's the last one. Let me interject real quick. I was a cop, and SB 1070 was a thing in Tucson, Arizona. Nobody is getting deported because they Mexican. That's not happening. What happens is a person has to have signs and symptoms of all kinds of other things before they waste their time to detain you. How does this look? A person admits that they are not a citizen, or a person has no identification and they can't speak English. Those are what we call reasonable suspicions that a person is illegally in this country. It is rare that you will find somebody who's legally in America that don't have no documentation, which means when I put your name in the system in the computer, nothing comes up. That's not what happens when you are searching or doing a check on a United States citizen or a person who immigrated here legally through the system. They have a social security number, then they have an identity. But when you go to run this person and nothing comes up, they have no social, no identity, no address, they can't speak English, and then they also tell you, I'm not from America, and they committing crimes, this is how you get deported. It's not just randomly, how many Mexicans can we find today? You couldn't deport all these Mexican people. Have you been to Phoenix? You go to the south side of Phoenix, it's Mexico with a little bit of Chicago in the corner. They ain't out every day. Mexican, bring them over here. Mexican. No, it don't work like that. They couldn't do that. It would be too exhausting. They would never get anything done. Roll the clip. It's the last
Whatever
one.
we feel about Mr. Abrego Garcia, it's honestly irrelevant.
All
it's
these
a question
cases,
for the immigration judge.
On Mr. Garcia, we keep saying that there's no evidence that this guy belonged to a gang.
No evidence in court filings.
That's not true.
No, that is true.
That is true.
Shermichael, that is true. No. Hold
Why
on.
do we always have to play this game of interrupting people when they're talking?
But you're
saying... What is
saying...
the point of me being on the show if I can never finish my freaking point?
Okay.
This is getting really annoying, Abby.
Hold on.
Everyone else has made their statements. I have yet to say anything.
Hold on a second, okay?
I mean, Jesus.
Hold on a
Why are you
second.
so angry?
Because I want to say something, and I have a point of view to make clear as well.
Hang on just one second. Shermichael, let me ask you a question. The question is, has the government presented evidence in court that Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13?
And my response...
And the answer is no, that has not happened in court. But it doesn't mean that they have not made those claims publicly. It doesn't mean that those claims are not in police reports.
In 2019...
It doesn't mean that they're not in police reports. They're just not statements that were made in a court case.
In 2019, the immigration judge at the time believed the Prince George's County gang unit and the evidence that they presented before that judge at the time that Mr. Garcia did indeed belong to a gang. This is not my opinion. People can Google this crap. They can Google this. CBS reported on this. If a judge believed it in 2019, is it now all of a sudden not true?
The judge granted him a withholding of removal.
No, I acknowledge that fact.
Which is a different issue. Hold on.
But the point remains that a judge found the evidence to be credible that Mr. Garcia did indeed belong to a gang. So now all of a sudden we're just not going to believe judges?
The judge
we can't have it both ways.
I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but my only point is that the government has not presented beyond the police report. They have not actually presented the evidence to prove that he belonged to this gang.
So police reports not considered evidence before a court of law? Do judges not consider police reports? What are we saying
but
here?
Shermichael, what was the original?
It's relevant.
I actually want Shermichael to finish the point.
It absolutely is relevant to the argument from the administration, which is that Mr. Garcia belonged to a gang as one of the reasons of deporting him out of the country. And you guys are saying there's no truth to it. There's no facts to it. That's not true.
The Constitution is very clear. It does not say citizens. It says no person should be deprived of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without due process. It doesn't matter what he's done in his past. The Boston Wait a minute. Let me finish. The Boston bomber had due process.
Yeah, that's due process.
That's what this is about. I gave you time. Let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay? This is a president who continues to twist the Constitution to adapt to whatever his vision is, to the point of the 2-year-old.
Listen. Let's put this in perspective. These people are so disingenuous because this is not Donald Trump contorting or changing the Constitution. This is Donald Trump acting on behalf of the best interests of America, and there's a constitutional argument that has to be made. That's the difference. It's like Donald Trump is acting in good faith according to reasonable good faith behavior. And then what happens on the back end? There is a legal challenge. And therefore, the Supreme Court has to make a decision. It's not that there's a decision that's made and he's turning against the decision. What's happening is that Donald Trump's interpretation of it and somebody else's interpretation of it is different. Donald Trump is doing what's in the best interest of our country. Because if anybody want to say MS-13 gang members should be able to stay in our country, he didn't get due process to get in this mud, and he don't need it going out. So if anybody's going to make that claim, you have to say that Trump is acting in good faith. Roll the clip.
Deported without due process, an American citizen. His father did not want him to go, and the only access he had to his daughter was listening to his daughter cry in the background in a 1-minute call. That 4-year-old did not get access to a doctor, despite the fact of having stage 4 cancer, did not have his medication with him when he was deported, an American citizen, to Honduras. This is what this president is doing. He is twisting the definition of the Constitution, and people like you are disparaging character to try to justify the disparaging.
I'm not disparaging due process does matter.
Did he have due process or not?
But the idea that Mr. Garcia's past doesn't matter is ludicrous.
We live
in a sovereign nation, and this idea that people can just come into our country and do whatever the heck they want to do is absurd to me. And if Democrats want to die on this hill, I promise you'll regret it politically. So go right ahead.
Go right ahead for Americans.
Go right ahead.
Hold on a second. It's funny, but they talk about due process, but they weren't talking about due process at January 6th. They didn't care about due process. I mean, come on, man. These people didn't even have a trial. They're sitting in jail riding. No due process mentioned. No due process mentioned. No legal conversation like this. Democrats did not say due process no matter what. But they are willing to say due process no matter what on an illegal alien who beat up his girlfriend, was an MS-13 gang member. This is a hill they will die on. It's not that they want to die. They will be dead on this hill. The American people are struggling right now, and the economy is kicking them in the you-know-what, and they defending illegals that shouldn't have never been here in the first place. It ain't like the guy was a citizen. It ain't like the guy came here legally and there was a court process and they're just deporting people who legally are in this country because they don't like them. It's a person that should never been here. Roll it.
We're breaking our laws coming into our country. That is a fact.
Let me let Scott have a word, and then we'll move on.
It seems to me that the political analysis of this, though, is, and a lot of average people are looking at it this way. Why is it that we can let 20 million people into the country just walk across, whatever, and there's no real process for them to do that, but then we have to individually pick out every single person and go through years upon years upon years of paperwork and this and that and the other, and all we're trying to do is send them back to where they came from because they came here illegally in the first place. 20 million in with no process. How do you get 20 million out with years and years of people fighting every single case? You could cherry pick any case you want. But the reality is the crisis that put Donald Trump in the White House was caused over years and years and years of neglect and letting people walk into here without any process at all. And now you're trying to gum up the works to keep them here.
A lot of them came in. A lot of them came in with parole. A lot of them came in.
CNN polling shows 54% of Americans want Mr.
November polling
Garcia
showed Donald
back.
Trump won the
That's
election.
CNN polling.
The
public is shifting.
We are a sovereign nation, and you cannot just come into our country illegally whenever the heck you want, because we can't do it to any other country on the face of this earth.
Asylum is a legal right.
If you come in illegally, you have to leave. Americans are tired of that. We do not have unlimited resources.
You know who was here illegally with a deportation order? Marco Rubio's grandfather.
All right,
we're not talking about Marco Rubio.
Oh, now we're not? Now that's not relevant?
It's not relevant.
No, I'm talking about Marco Rubio because Marco Rubio used to be an advocate for TPS for Venezuelans, and Marco Rubio used to be an advocate for Nicaraguans and Cubans. No, I know you're not.
If you come into this country illegally, you are going home. Simple as that. We do not have unlimited resources.
I think a lot of Americans
to take care of other people.
There's a hell of a lot of people other than the black people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're not the same as black people who were brought here against our will.
That's exactly what I just said. I said there is a lot of people
There's a big difference. There is a big difference.
That's exactly what I just said.
There is a big difference.
That's exactly what I just said, Shermichael. Look and act indignant. That's exactly what I just said.
Let me just Shermichael.
Other than the black
Anna and Shermichael. Shermichael,
as slaves. There are a lot of people from
Shermichael, I think you actually misheard what she.
Okay.
I think you misheard what she said.
No, he purposely misheard.
She said.
I purposely misheard. So now you're in my brain.
Shermichael, listen to me for just a second.
Is that where we're going?
You think I would say I will have advocated
Anna,
for black people my entire life and say something like that?
Anna,
because you've advocated for black people, great,
stop.
Congratulations. Last time I checked, I'm black, you're not.
Okay, Shermichael.
That's right. I'm Latino and my people are being racially profiled.
It is.
And do I have to remind you the history of my people?
Shermichael,
do I want to go there?
No, I don't.
Do you really want to go
we're
there?
going to go to break.
Know the history.
Raul, we're going to go to break. Raul Reyes, thank you very much for joining us, everybody.
This is a good one to end on. But just, hey, let's keep it real. Do y'all really want to go down this path? Because black people who were smuggled here or traded here are not the same as Mexican people from the southern border who snuck into our country. These two people are not the same. It wasn't a circumstance. These Mexican people come over here, or whoever is coming from the southern border, they come over here and get benefits. They come over here and get housing. They come over here and get free health care. They come over here and there's taxpayer programs for them. When black people came over here, they were getting whooped over the back of the head and put on plantations. Y'all better stop playing with us. And I wish that black people start standing up. D.L. Hughley and all these other people. Hispanic people and black people's immigration story ain't the same. We don't have the same history. You show me a water fountain that says no Mexicans or no, it didn't exist. Black people had to go through all of this stuff. Black people built the railroads and had to do all of this stuff and now get an opportunity to have equal rights. We couldn't vote. We couldn't do all of this stuff. Y'all come over here 30 minutes ago and get everything we work for. Didn't no civil rights. Black people died for that. The Civil War, black people died in it. You name it. We've been fighting over all this time. And then you get to come over here and reap the benefits of all of that. You're going to miss me with that. I think I said enough. Y'all comment in the comment section. I love you guys. See you.